$7.25 an hour is $15,000 a year. That's poverty level.
Florida voted for Donald Trump and yet passed with a 2/3 majority a minimum wage hike to $15. So across the country, this is the policy that independents, Republicans, and Democrats are calling for.
Raising the minimum wage from $7.25 to $15 an hour, it was one of President Biden's key campaign promises, but he's not going to be able to deliver on that promise quite yet. And it comes after a Senate official ruled that raising the minimum wage can't be part of this massive COVID relief package.
If we are going to say that Democrats can make a difference when we have the House, the Senate, and the White House, then we are going to have to deliver. It is not going to be sufficient for us to just say, well, we tried, sorry. We've got to go to the mat with every tool in the toolbox.
Vice presidents in the past have disregarded the parliamentarian. We should do that in this case.
The Biden White House says no, and supporters of raising the minimum wage are right to feel betrayed and infuriated. Hello, everybody. I'm David Shuster, and thanks for joining us. The federal minimum wage in the United States has been stuck at $7.25 an hour for 12 years. According to the Congressional Budget Office, lifting it to $15 an hour would boost the wages of 17 million workers and lift 1.5 million Americans out of poverty. Republicans like to say, oh, but it's going to cost jobs. But according to most of the research, when you implement a raising of the federal minimum wage gradually, as this would do, it doesn't cost any net jobs. Given the action of the Senate parliamentarian, there are two different ways that Senate Democrats could now move on this. First, they could separate the minimum wage as its own standalone legislation and change the filibuster to require 51 votes to pass this legislation instead of 60. However, Democratic Senators Sinema from Arizona and Manchin from West Virginia have said they are flat out opposed to any changes in the filibuster legislation. So the other option for the Democrats is to leave the raising of the minimum wage attached to the $2 trillion COVID-19 relief bill as it passed the House, essentially bypassing the Senate parliamentarian. Now, Vice President Harris, in her role as president of the U.S. Senate, has the authority to do that. And according to Senate rules, overruling the vice president would require 60 U.S. senators. Republicans, even with Manchin and Sinema, would fall short at 52. The Biden White House points out that in order to pass the overall COVID relief package, you still need 50 Democratic senators, with Harris breaking the tie. And without Manchin and Sinema, the Democrats would fall short on that key legislation with 48. But would Senators Sinema and Manchin really torpedo the $2 trillion spending package because of their objections to raising the minimum wage? Furthermore, there's so much that the Democratic Party and the Biden White House can do to entice those senators to horse trade to try to convince them to get on board. And besides, no legislation is perfect. Even Senator Sanders has pointed out several things about the COVID relief bill that he doesn't like, but that he believes on balance it does more good than bad. And again, the powers of the presidency to bring a member of your own party on board, those are immense. Right now, President Biden should be showing at least as much fight and determination for raising the minimum wage as he showed during the campaign.
These first responders, we all clap for as they come down the street because they've allowed us to make it. What's happening? They deserve a minimum wage of $15. Anything below that puts you below the poverty level. And there is no evidence that when you raise the minimum wage, businesses go out of business.
This is no time to give up. 2 out of 3 Americans support raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And if Democrats don't get this done, and don't even try to convince Sinema and Manchin to get on board, the disillusionment throughout the Democratic Party will be deeper than any establishment Democrats even realize. And mark my words, Democrats in the 2022 midterm elections will lose the House and will lose the Senate. That's how big this is in terms of Democratic policies and get out the vote politics.